Hello and welcome to another Wineword Italy review. Today I'm looking at two more wines from the Romanelli family in Montefalco in Umbria. I'm looking at first their Montefalco Sagrantino DOCG 2007 and secondly their Montefalco Sagrantino DOCG again, Passito version this time. So let's think about that word, Sagrantino. It's a particularly important variety in Umbria, especially in Montefalco. And so let's think a little bit about the origins. Well, apparently it's probably first imported to Italy by the Byzantine monks from Greece during the Middle Ages. The name may have a religious origin. Sagrantino might come from sacrifice or sacrestia, the communion. Wherever its origins, it's certainly been around a very long time. Some authorities at the end of the 19th century noted it as being cultivated in Umbria for time out of mind. Now, whilst it's often associated with Montefalco, it is also grown in other communes, Bevagna, Gualdo Cataneo, Castel Ritaldi and Giano dell'Umbria, all of which are in the same area of Perugia province. The good part about this variety is it's very resistant to winter snows and spring frosts, and this area is particularly exposed to winds, so it needs to be quite strong. But, however, it's rather susceptible to peronospora, which is a fungus that seriously damages vines, and in the case of the Sagrantino, it goes for the leaves in a big way, so it causes a lot of damage. In recent years, Sagrantino has made a huge comeback, particularly due to its strong tannins. It is now considered as one of the greatest red wine producing vines in all of Italy. So with that as a rather good introduction, let's go on to this particular producer. There we are. It's Romanelli with their typical beautiful R emblazoned across the label there. As I said, it's a DOCG 2007. 15% alcohol by volume, so packs a hefty punch. And how's it produced? Well, it comes the best grapes selected by hand, carefully picked, placed in boxes, immediately transported to the cellar where the grapes are destemmed and gently pressed. And the must is obtained to start fermentation at a controlled temperature, and frequent pumping and délestage goes on through the process. This is followed by maturation on the skins for 45 to 60 days, giving a lot of time for the colour to come out. And after racking, the wine is then aged for 18 months in French wood barrels, French oak barrels, sizes ranging from 225 to 2,500 litres, so, you know, medium to very large barrels. Montefalco Sagrantino is then blended, filtered and bottled, and remains in the bottles about 10 months before being put on the market. So without any further ado, let's get this bottle open. I have tried this particular wine before on a visit to Assisi and had a splendid evening sharing a bottle with Deb. Let's see how we go with this one. We're all right there. Wow. All right. Let's get some in the glass. See what we have here. Absolutely splendid glug. Have a look at that. Lovely, lovely dark colour. Sum up the glass there. It's a very intense ruby red. You can see the alcohol possibly coming up the glass, arcing nicely there. It does have a high level, 15% by volume. So there we are, a nice intense ruby red, the important stuff. Let's get the nose in and see what this is all about. I'm in heaven. fruits. It smells a little bit like the raspberry patch when the raspberries have started to drop, so maybe a little stronger than that, possibly blackberries, certainly. Darker forest fruits, delightfully mouth-watering smell. And the warmer, sweeter spices, cloves, cinnamon, there are suggestions there. That'll be coming through from the barrels. They've certainly done their work. Okay, well, let's get a taste and see what we can do. Cin-cin. The first word I would say there is warm. The second word I would use is powerful. My goodness, that packs a punch. It's got a long-lasting taste, it's rich, fruity. But the delicious oakiness there too. Absolutely divine. Almost a crime to drink it. However, drink it one does, and if you do drink it, what are you going to eat alongside? Because I would rather look at it in that order, you know, the wine first and the food after, but never mind. Well, you can use it with some game, a really, really strong roast dinner possibly, or equally strong blue type cheeses, those with the veins in that have got a really sort of spicy, hot kind of taste. Anything like that would pan out perfectly with this particular wine. So there it is, absolutely splendid. I was looking forward to this, I'm not even slightly disappointed. Here we go, Romanelli Montefalco Sagrantino, DOCG 2007. If you can find it, then get hold of some and enjoy it. So, after the Montefalco Sagrantino, is anything else less? Let's see. Meet Montefalco Sagrantino Passito DOCG 2007, again by Romanelli. In this case, the R has been emblazoned. It's a sort of red gold colour, possibly reflecting what will be in the bottle. Okay, once again, all the grapes in this wine come from Romanelli's own vineyards in Colle San Clemente di Montefalco. It's a well-exposed site, plenty of sunshine, also plenty of wind. So the grapes, again, same as the other, but these are more carefully selected. Again, they're manually harvested, immediately taken to the winery, at which point their root is very different from the normal DOCG. They are put on mesh frames to commence natural sweetening, or appassimento, as it's said in Italian. Left there for about 2 months, and then the partly dried fruit is destemmed and gently pressed. Now, obviously, over time, evaporation takes place, much more sugar forms. It's a very, very sweet concoction that eventually gets to go into the must. Now, this must is fermented at a very closely controlled temperature, and that's followed by maturation on the skins for about 30 days, again giving plenty of time for the colour to come out into the wine. After vinification, the wine is matured in 225 litre French oak, and then it's assembled, bottled and cantina cellared for another 6 months before being sold. So that's what happens to this. Let's get it open and see what it's all about. I have to say, I'm becoming very fond of these various passitoed wines, these sweetened wines that I'm trying. There was the Chaquetra from the Liguria recently. But, let's get this one open, see what it's all about. Oh, sweetness coming from the cork there too. There we go, let's pop some in. Totally different colour. There we are. some paper behind that so you can see. Okay, it's a sort of syrupy consistency almost. Much, much thicker. It's a very, very dense ruby red, but I don't know, it's got a sort of thickness to it which doesn't appear in the normal wine. Much more dense kind of liquid. As you've noticed, it's a half bottle. Generally Passito comes in a 375ml size. This is no exception. So there we are. Let's get the nose in and see what this is. Oh, massive wow factor. Excuse me, I have to do that again. Oh, mouth-watering. Cherries, roses, that good old homemade jam, and again the sweet spices, probably coming from the oak barrels. Absolutely mouth-wateringly marvellous. If you could only sniff it, you'd still be okay if you couldn't actually drink it. But I'm lucky, I'm going to get to taste it. So, cin-cin, let's see what it's all about. That is wonderful. Not delicious, it's better than delicious. It's warm, it's velvet smooth, and it's not over sickly sweet. It's got the tannic sense, it's got the oaky flavour, it's got the sweetness. It's a marvellous concoction. Oh, you've got all the tastes of the smells as well. You've got the spiciness, you've got the jam flavour, everything, but not cloying. It's not, you know, the sweetness doesn't overpower everything else. Absolutely beautiful. All that's missing is something to eat it with, and possibly some fruit tart, a lattice tart or something like that, or any kind of very sweet cakes would be marvellous. Or you can go the other way, as many people sometimes do, and have it with a blue type cheese, because then you've got the sort of the bitterness, the strength of the cheese, the spiciness of the cheese, in complete contrast to the sweetness of this wine. So there it is. Montefalco Sagrantino DOCG 2007 in the Passito version. An absolutely wonderful way to round off an evening with friends, with your dessert, or with some very, very pungent cheese. Having already enjoyed with your main course, possibly a nice plate of game. Okay, your Montefalco Sagrantino DOCG 2007. Thanks to everyone at Romanelli, and I very much look forward to trying the last wine in their range, which remains to be done. Cin-cin from Wineword, Italy.